If only he would change this about himself, or if she would just act like this, our relationship would be incredible. Isn't those the things that we say we wish would happen in our relationship? Well, what we're going to talk about today on our first episode of Marriage Mastery Unleashing the Power of Love is understanding the four personalities. Now, I'm going to do Self Love Monday, and then we're going to also do relationship building, or we're going to call it Marriage Builder, on Thursdays. I decided to pick a topic that I know would cover both areas, even though this is Thursday and we're starting the first podcast on a Thursday. I wanted to start it on a Monday, but I was just too excited to wait. So we decided we're going to get started on Thursday, but I'm going to pick what I believe is probably the most important part in understanding and making a relationship grow is understanding the four personalities. Here's why. The way I learned this actual program is called the STAR system. STAR, and it's an acronym, and each word has its own meaning. The S stands for stability, the T is theory, the A is action, and the R is relationship. The reason this is very important is because we have all four, but we're usually strong in two, and our partner is strong in the other two. And also the reason that I love this particular way, because I've heard people talk about there's 32 personalities, there's 16. I've heard all these different things, trying to figure out the different ways people do certain things, fall in this category. The four was real simple, real basic, and I think it covers it all. And you guys will understand here in a second. But the reason that you're attracted to the person that you're with is because, as I said, we have all four personalities, but we're strong in two, and our partner's usually strong in the other two. So if you understand what I just said, then you're actually with that person because they complement you. They help you become stronger in the areas that you're weak. The challenge is you're spending your time trying to make them be you. And the reality is, if they did become like you, you'd break up with them. The reason you're attracted to them is because they are different than you. So the key is to recognize that and then use their particular skills where it's actually important. Because that's the reason I'm a person, I don't get it caught into the gender roles. I tell people real quick, the only time I'm ever going to buy into this macho role that people want to talk about is I tell people, if your family has been attacked from a mental or physical perspective, as the man, you better jump forward and say, you got to go through me before you get to my family. Once we get past that one, the gender roles are who's best equipped for whatever we need done in our particular home. For example, I was sharing this with a gentleman. He was trying to tell me, he said, you think a man should control his house, right? I said, control? It's not your job to control your kids. Your job is to guide and lead your kids. And I said, why would you ever want to control someone? I said, think of a remote control. That is control. Why would you ever want that kind of power over another individual unless you have a self-esteem issue? I might have stepped on some toes there. But think about it. Why would you ever want to have that kind of power over another individual and strip them of the power to make their own decisions? Think about it. You wouldn't want somebody to have that kind of power over you. So why would you want to have that kind of power over someone else? And then I went on to tell him, I said, think about this. Your wife is an accountant. This is what she does for a living. She helps people with money. But you believe as a man, it is your job to handle the finances. But you know nothing about money. How much sense would that make inside of a relationship? Unfortunately, some of you guys know what I'm talking about because you fall in that picture. You're thinking you should be handling the finances when the last thing you need to be doing is touching it. Now, that's not saying your partner can't teach you. And if you guys want to switch roles or do certain areas in that, beautiful, wonderful. But don't get caught in the world telling you how a relationship is supposed to look and you let your pride and ego get in the way. Another example being, you're the guy. You can cook. She can't. Please get her out of the kitchen before she kills somebody. You go in there now. If you want to teach her how to cook again, just like we just said, if you want to teach her how to cook, she wants to take over that role. You guys want somebody, she'll cook sometime, you'll cook. Wonderful. That's between you guys. My objective here is quit listening to the world telling you how a relationship is supposed to look. Quit comparing yourself to other people. Also, if you understand what I'm getting ready to share here with the four personalities, you understand you're going to be strong in two, your partner's going to be strong in the other two, which means no relationship is going to look the same because of your personalities. You're going to see the world differently because of your culture, your coaching, your family, everything. So the key is the personalities pretty much line up, but all the other things are going to be ingrained in you based on the people that you surround yourself with. But anyway, let's get back to the star system. The stability-minded person is just pretty much what it sounds like. They believe everything should be structured. Everything should. It's funny. I remember when I first learned this. The guy made the comment. He said he was talking to a young lady, and he had already figured out she was stability-minded. And he asked her. He said, "Your cans at your house, on your shelf." He said, "Are they in alphabetical order or are they stacked according to size?" And she died laughing. She said, "Oh my goodness, how would you know that?" He said, "Because that's what stability people do, is structure." So you guys understand that, and I know you guys do. That means they're going to be like that pretty much in everything in their life. Everything needs to be structured, planned out. They don't like surprises too much because everything needs to be planned. The T personality, that's your theory person. Very sharp individuals. They you can teach them something once, they got it. Most people you got to teach 5 times. The challenge with that is the theory people kind of look down on other people because they do pick it up so quick. They think, are you guys really that stupid? The only challenge is they will actually say that. And they call it keeping it real. We all know that's not keeping it real. Some things you need to just keep to yourself. Now, because that's your engineers, your astrologers, your Star Trekians. You guys know, I mean, you pretty much understand. They are in the technical field. Very sharp people. The people that make books that put the average person to sleep. These are the things they thrive in. Then you have your action person. I'm not going to get into that here, but that's the person we put labels on, that ADHD, whatever thing the medical field made up so they could give people drugs. Didn't mean to step on some toes. Those people going to get mad that I said that. But think about it. If they're tranquilizing your kid, how is that helping your kid? But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to go through that. Because I know I would have been given the drugs when I was younger because they would have called me that. The reality is that particular person, the action person, that's their gift to the world. They can't stay focused on anything too long. They're on the left side of the room. They're working on a project. You turn around, they're on the right side. You turn around, they're outside. You turn around, you like, would you sit still, figure out? That's their gift. They're always creating stuff, but they're not going to ever finish anything. They're almost flaky because the fact is they are always moving, but that's because their mind is always running. Put a bunch of those people in the same room and watch the things that are created. There's nothing wrong with them. That's just there. And while I'm thinking about that, one thing I learned when I learned the star system, 38% of people are stability minded. 38% are action oriented. 12% are the technical, and 12% are the relationship. Think about that. So we have a system that's trying to teach everyone, school included, that we need to all be structured. We all need to be in line. We all need to be doing the same thing. So you're trying to make 100% of the people be what only 38% of the people were born to be. Think about that. So that means 60% of the world are not stability minded. They're not built on structure. But we're trying to make everyone that way and wonder why a lot of people have challenges in school, because that's not their gift. That's why we get mad at the person, again, and we're talking about the action person, because they're not into stability. They weren't born to be stability minded. But we're not going to stay on that topic. But then we have the fourth one, which is the R, which is the relationship. Just what it says. Pretty straightforward. They're the ones, can't we all just get along? They're the ones, a lot of times you're going to see those people that are your nuns, your nurses, they're in the church, that type of stuff. They're in the caring positions. Now, why is that important? Again, as we said, you have all four. And the reason I'm starting with that here again on Thursday is because the fact is, if you understand what I just said, one, it helps Monday, which again is what I really wanted to start the program, but I couldn't wait. But on Monday, when I'm talking about the where it helps you on the self person, is it gets you the opportunity to learn and understand yourself better, to understand why you think the way you think, why you do the things that you do. It also helps you understand why you're attracted to the person who is your partner, usually your married partner, your committed person that you're with. That's why you guys are the opposites. I'll use the example like me and my wife. My second strongest is what I call the theory, which we talked about. Very technical, very sharp people, very smart, but their people skills are usually very, very. I don't know how many times I have to say that, but very, very bad. And so, guess who they're going to marry? The relationship person. Why? Because the relationship person will teach them how to be more human, how not to degrade people, how not to tear people down, how not to, as they call it, keep it real. There's a time to keep it real, and there's a time that you need to hold your tongue. And the technical person's job is to teach the relationship person how to be able to know the difference between those who are accepting what they're doing as far as the help are those people who are actually trying to take advantage of them, and basically teaching them to be a little bit more tough in areas where they need be. Now, so those were mine. Mine was the technical, and then she was the relationship. So whenever we caught ourselves in a situation, because every company I've worked in, I've been in management. So whenever I had relationship challenges with an employee, I would go ask my wife, what should I do? Why? Because it's her gift, relationship. I would tell her, here's the situation, how should I handle it? Because you guys know, being a theory person, a technical person who doesn't have people skills, my first thing is going to be fire their butt and get somebody else in here. I know you guys follow that. But if I go talk to a relationship person, you guys know what she's going to say. You need to care. Care? You need to talk to them. Talk to them. You need to find out what's going on in their life. Huh? Why do I care? That's their issues. You guys follow me? But because that's her skill, I need to accept what she's teaching and then go back and do what she said. If I'm not going to do it, then why ask her? But I did. I would go back, and I know in the beginning stages it was tough for me because my philosophy would be to fire and move on. I have to go in there and act like I care. Ask questions. You guys know in the beginning that's tough if that's not what you do and that's not your personality. But the more I did it, the better I became at it. And I hope today, at least I believe I am, that person who truly actually cares about people. And so therefore, that's why I do what I do, because that's why I'm in this field. But anyway, does that make sense? And then my job is to teach her, being technical, to be careful of those people who will try to take advantage of her kindness. Now, understanding that also is the flip side of that is my first, because that was my second, was the theory person, my second of the two, and her second of the two was the relationship. But our first of the two personalities is mine was the action, which, like I told you, they're into everything. They're the people that have 10 different jobs. And folks, I'm always got projects, not the jobs. I didn't have 10 different jobs going at all, but I always got projects going on. That's what I'm doing now. Stand on one project and getting it completed, that is a true weakness. Why? Because it's not my strength. That's why you're going to marry someone who's stability minded. You guys follow me? And then my job is to teach her who's stability minded, everything doesn't have to be planned. Sometimes we just need to go just do something and have fun. So if you guys understand that, now you understand why I started with this particular topic. Because one, if you understand it from a personal perspective, then you understand yourself better, and then it also gives you insight on why your partner is the way they are. And then it's very simple to understand why it works in relationships. Through the examples we just shared, now you see exactly why it works in relationships and why I thought this was a great topic to kick off our podcast. So I was sharing this with a friend of mine, and she was telling me, as I shared the theory personality, she's like, oh my goodness, you have no idea what you just did. And I'm like, what? She said, I have always believed there are some people that shouldn't have kids. And my mom is one of those. And she said, you just explained my mom to me. She said, that's incredible. See, folks, it's not about learning the personality so you can judge people. It allows you to understand them. You don't have to agree. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to accept it. It's just, I do understand now why you think the way you do and why that you act the way you do. And it makes our relationship go a lot simpler. And like I was sharing with her, remember we shared, that personality is going to marry the relationship person because she could tell that her mom was the theory. And she's like, oh my goodness. She said, that is so true. In my house, my dad is the one we go to. My dad is the one that hugs us and holds us and plays with us. See, folks, this is not a gender thing. And that's what I'm hoping you get from this conversation. The personalities of who you are is just, unfortunately, we're in a culture that when you take on the personality, because we've decided what a man looks like, what a woman looks like, if you follow your personality versus what the society has said you should be, they judge you. In other words, a man that's willing to get on the floor and play with the kids and do all that, we want to judge him and call him weak and all the other things because men don't do that. Men aren't in touch with their emotions. We'll get into these kind of subjects later on as we go through the podcast, at the different podcasts, but you guys will find out a lot of stuff that I share helps you understand why those particular thought processes and those teaching are dangerous for your relationship in order to make it work. And that's why we're going to have the relationship building, the marriage builder Thursdays, so that we can get more clarity and make our relationships work. So I hope you guys got something out of this particular first episode, and that I'll see you on Monday when we do the first episode of Self-Love. But again, I just wanted to get started. I know this is not the best day to start on Thursday because I wanted to start it on a Monday, since also I believe that the self-love is the most important place that we start at. And then that's why it's going to be on Mondays, and then the relationship stuff is on Thursdays. Because I believe if you take care of the first relationship, which is with yourself, then the other relationships become a lot easier because you attract that which you put out. Real quick, and I know you guys understand this. If you're messed up, guess who you're going to attract? Messed up people. You guys follow me? And those of you who are married, which is going to be the focus of this particular podcast, is pretty much helping marriages. You're going to recognize why you're with the partner that you're with. Now, because you're married, I think we're going to have to do a little bit more, and that's we got to be open to change. Understand and change, because I believe in marriage. And because this podcast is really geared towards marriage, I'm hoping you take the things that I share and teach throughout this and strengthen your marriage versus doing what the world thinks is the easy way, and that's just get divorced. I'm not a fond person of divorce, but at the same time, if anybody's mentally or physically destroying you, it's time to say goodbye. I know that's very direct and very straightforward, but I'm never, ever going to be into abuse mentally or physically. You should never be torn down by another individual to help them build their own self-esteem. So anyway, I hope, again, you guys got a lot out of this. Understand the 4 personalities. The key is to figure out what 2 are yours, and then it helps you understand why your partner is the other 2. And instead of judging them, and instead of trying to change them, understand what their strength is and use that when you're in those situations. Or if you guys find yourself in those situations, who should be leading that particular conversation, because it is their gift. It's not saying that they get to make all the decisions, but they definitely should be leading the conversation because they're better gifted for that particular one. When you get caught in this, I'm the male, I'm the man, or any of that other kind of garbage, your relationship will always have problems because there's no one that is totally equipped to run a relationship and make all the decisions. That's why it is called a partnership. All right, as you guys know, it ain't right, it ain't wrong. It is my opinion. Again, I look forward to talking to you guys on Monday. And as you know, in closing, if you're not having fun, you should be doing something else. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.